feelings and facts can be interchangeable. Like a feeling can become a fact after a while. It's like somebody, like you said, Darwin, earlier, was like, if my last 5 relationships, they were telling me this, then I would believe it. If you had the exit interview and those 5 women told you the same thing, then you were like, well, shit, then you would know, right? If everybody's saying that, whether they're angry or not, they all saying the exact same thing to you. They're not psychic. They're saying how they feel. And in the same capacity, if when you interviewing your next person that you're gonna be with, you ask them, how could you have, like, what could you have done in your last relationship to make it work? What do you think you could have did better? Because women are quick, and I'm speaking for women because I don't date men.
That's what self-esteem comes in at. Now,
that's what
you gonna let those 5 people discourage you and tell you that what you have is nothing now? Because
it's not discouragement.
No,
it's criticism. It's criticism.
If the same criticism is exactly the same, what do you think that is? You know what I'm saying? At some point, you'd be like, it's me. You know what I mean? It's the same criticism.
Okay, I'm gonna let all of y'all finish. Okay, I gave y'all chance. I was quiet. You know,
that's when
everybody add their pieces, right?
I'm just gonna end it with this: 5 people can tell me the exact same thing about myself, and at the end of the day, I'm still gonna say I have a lot to offer somebody else. That's just listen. That's just how it is. Y'all wasn't for me. I know it takes a long time to find the person for me. It's somebody out there for me. Y'all 5 people ain't. So that's cool.
Okay,
that's just me. Ain't no one gonna encourage me in my mission.
Well, what I wanted to say is that everything requires context, right? Just like y'all said, the context of her relationship obviously has a lot to do with a lot of the different conversations that have sprouted up recently on social media, where people, especially men specifically, are now asking, what do you bring to the table, right? Like I've never heard this my whole entire life growing up. I've never seen such a thing. It did not exist. So obviously she's framing her thought process and everything around that whole entire concept. The biggest thing that I think is the problem with what we're seeing right now is when you ask a question, this is what I'm seeing from that question, right? When you're asking a question and you're like, what do you bring to the table? Or if you ask them more broadly, just like you did, if somebody's saying, what does a woman bring to the table for me? Which is a question that some of those men in that same vein are asking. What does a woman bring to the table for me, right? My thing is I think we have officially run into a generation of people that have zero idea of why they want relationships, period.
Like why
relationships matter, period. Like, and I'm not even just talking about romantic relationships. I mean freaking relationships with friends. I'm talking about all types of relationships. Like, people are so removed from why we even want relationships with each other, because if that were not the case, you wouldn't even be asking those kind of questions. You would know what you want from a woman, and you would seek out women who fit what it is that you want, right? If you even understood why, but you want somebody to convince you why you should want a relationship with a woman. What? Like, so we got to sit here and really try to backtrack all the way back to try to figure out why we want relationships in the first place now. So we are so removed from that. So we spend time on, again, I keep going back to, we spending a lot of time on basic shit that doesn't matter. And that's why people are having such a hard time in relationships and having such a hard time maintaining relationships, or even understand what is valuable and what matters. So when we think about what we really truly need from a partner, right? It's really only 3 things. It's really 3 main things. Kindness. We need kindness from a partner. We need shared vulnerability. Both of us have to be able to be vulnerable, with each other. And we need understanding from our partner. That's all. Those are the only 3 things that we really need from a partner, right? So when we start getting caught up in all of this, like, I took a special note of some of the things that she was trying to say, because I wanted to understand what her concept was of, even, first of all, what a man is for and what a woman is for, or what she was even saying. The only things that I heard her bring up when she said the words, I have nothing to offer a man, all she mentioned was cooking. So that's what you have, like, that's the thing.
And nurturing.
Has to
she said
offer.
Nurturing.
Right. No, I'm going down the list. I'm going down the list. She said cooking. Then she said nurturing, which she said she can't because she has to nurture her children, which is fine. So she said that and nurturing. She said something about being his peace. And then she said some coochie. And she said she was emotionally upset, right? And then she said she's never been a woman to a man. She didn't articulate what that even means. This is why I say I think people are so, they don't even know what they like you say, it does boil down to not even having an understanding of self, but it's not just her. It's all of these conversations. It's all of this stuff. I don't even know how to be a woman to a man. What does that mean? What does that mean generally? What does that mean to you specifically? What is it that you're even talking about, right? Then she said, I expect a man to come to me, you know, already ready, you know, to provide and to work and handle himself. That's what she said she wants from a man. So you want a man who works, provides, and handles himself. That's your criteria for a man. And in your mind, to be in a relationship and to bring him value, you have to be a woman to him, which in your mind means you cook for him and you are emotionally nurturing and all these other things. This is why I say those things are, we worried about the wrong things, right? Because to Miss Jovo's point, and I'm glad she brought up the fact that she said she went through a period of time, right? You were in a relationship with your husband, right? Because your baby was born, right? You were not able to give him nurturing and all of those other things in that moment because life has seasons, things change, all of that stuff happens. Maybe you couldn't cook for him, all of this other stuff. That's what I'm saying. The stuff that you're naming, what is that? And then so what you would need from your partner in that moment is shared vulnerability. You would need to be able to be vulnerable enough with your partner to be like, man, right now I'm bitter, I'm upset, it's a lot going on. You know what I'm saying? What you would need from them is understanding. I understand that you're,
and there it is,
you know, and those different types of things. Then you would need kindness. Well, what can I do to help things be better for you and stuff like that? That's what partnerships and relationships are supposed to be.
Miss Jovo, you is somebody.
What?
Oh, I know I'm somebody now, but what I'm saying is, old girl that came on here, she don't know this lack of self, and not to cut off Cannon, but that lack of self-awareness. Yeah, you know, most people, it's 168 hours in a week. Most people couldn't even break down what you do for all 168 hours because they lack self-awareness. They lack self-awareness.
Well, I think she's at the point where she's gaining some self-awareness. Does she need some self-awareness?
She's honest about she need to gain it.
But what is she gaining though?
But listen, so I don't care what you do, right? Like, this is for women and men. You could have some wonderful qualities and you could do some wonderful things. I'll take it from a woman's point of view. If a man comes into my life and he buys me roses and he's thoughtful and he's kind and he, you know, he prays with me, he does things that I do like, right? But he's mean, he is vengeful, he holds grudges, he's distrusting. That's baggage. And you are not in a position as to where you can have a healthy relationship. We all have some bad trait, right? Some negative trait. And all of us fall short in relationships. So we do need compassion and we need kindness and we need understanding. But you could be in such an emotional state where you aren't healed. We talk about healing a lot on this show. You could be in an emotional state or at a point in your life where you really don't need to be with anybody. And it doesn't matter it doesn't matter that you cook sometimes. It doesn't matter that you come up with great birthday gifts. It doesn't matter that you iron the clothes or whatever it is, the good things. I see relationships like you got to have, I look at them not quantitatively, but qualitatively. You could have these great things, but if you got these two things that are horrible and they cause so much like burden, that's a problem. You're not in a position to be in a relationship with somebody.
See, so it's like somebody or that person.
But I was gonna finish. But I wasn't totally finished yet. What I was saying is I'm not negating that there is an issue there with the things that she was saying, because it is. But what I'm saying is the conclusions that she is drawing is what's problematic, and the basis in which she's basing it in is what's problematic. The other problem that I was going to say, to your point, what you said about bringing baggage and things like that, I agree. Part of the problem is that we're too busy trying to get into relationships to find happiness, as opposed to getting into relationships to express a happiness that we already possess. That is the problem. We have all of these expectations that we're putting on other people. That's why people are having a hard time with relationships now. And it's not just, if we look at it, right? If we look at it, it's not just romantic relationships. Parents having problems having relationships with their kids. People having problems having relationships with their siblings. People having problems keeping friends. It's across the board, because what I'm saying is people have all of these unrealistic expectations on what they're supposed to get out of relationships. And it's based on, like I say, those arbitrary things that she was talking about. Because what happens, and what I'm saying is, her having that thought process, it still is not lending her self-awareness, because what's happening is she's thinking like, oh, okay, I'm supposed to cook, I'm supposed to nurture, like all of these kind of action things that she's thinking. Okay, she can get better at doing those things at some point, right? At some point, but then you're not always going to be able to do those things. Just like Miss Jofo said, sometimes when you have kids, like when I have my daughter, yeah, just because she's saying, oh, I'm frustrated when I'm with my kids, so I can't give it to you. You will do that in a marriage too. You will still be frustrated with your kids. And so now this man finna leave you because right now you frustrate. Right. That's what I'm saying about those unrealistic expectations.
Exactly.
So if he's sitting there and he looking for you to give him happiness, and like I said, he don't have that kindness, that shared vulnerability, and that understanding, y'all don't have that with each other. That's why the relationships is breaking up. Because, oh, you're not cooking for me. Oh, you're not nurturing me. Oh, you didn't do this. Like all of this stuff that we're talking about. Even if she's saying, oh, he coming to me, he needs to be a provider, he needs to do this, he lose his job. So what, now you finna leave him because now he lost his job, so he can't provide right now? Because you're not giving him the kindness, the shared vulnerability, and the understand, like he can't come to you vulnerable. You know, I was having a real hard time. This is what happened. Just bear with me. You can't give him the understand, like, you know what, I understand. Let's work together. Let's figure out what we're gonna do. People are not doing that. And that's what I'm saying is the problem. People are, so when you talking about these stupid conversations about what you bring to the table, what you bring to the, like, what are y'all even, like, what are we discussing?
Better start asking people if they happy. How about that? Are you happy?
Yes. Are you happy with yourself?
I wrote the book,
She wasn't.
Biggest Mistake. Biggest mistake.
I agree with that point.
My marriage is broke up in chapters. Let me tell y'all about chapters 1 through 4. The biggest mistake I made as a very young wife. I was 23 years old when I got married. I looked to my husband for things that I should have been putting in myself. Let me say that again.
Yeah.
I looked to my husband for the things that I should have been putting in myself. And I still have to check myself on that. I think the group that we all met in, I think one of my very first comments on one of these posts about what women bring to the table, I remember telling one of those guys, you better ask her if she's happy. Y'all worried about the wrong stuff.
The wrong stuff.
Because you get linked up with people who have these expectations, like Cannon said, that they supposed to make you happy. You know, I tell my single girlfriends all the time, it is not, they look at me and I'm like, it is not my husband's job to make sure that I am quote unquote happy. That's my job. If he want to add to that, woohoo! But that ain't his job one. That's my job one. That's my job one. I had to learn that because I married a guy who, and now we all joke about it as a family. My take on affection in relationship and his take on affection is very different. My husband is not quote unquote affection. He's more affectionate now, but he's not an affectionate guy per se. Oh my God. Chapters 1 through 4. You need to do this. You need to do that. And the light bulb came on. Some of this I can be doing for myself. Like, girl, what you talking about? And see, that's the hard conversation. And Cannon, I'm glad you brought that up. That a lot of single women don't want to have because they think that it's, well, you making excuses for him or y'all putting it all on me. Well, some of it, newsflash, if you want to be somebody's wife, how a lot of stuff is on him, it's a lot of stuff on you too. But guess what? This the secret, y'all. What's the part that you control? That's the other part of the narrative. You got men wanting to talk about what women need to do and women talking about what men need to do, but nobody wants to talk about what's within their personal control. Your happiness. That's within your personal control. You make your own self happy. Now, if you have certain things like what Ashley was mentioning about I like to pray with my partner, or I like flowers, I like this, I like that. Then express those things. Don't expect your partner to read your mind. Okay? Like, share what you like. Be vocal with love language. Identify what each other, what you like or whatever. But yeah, that whole happiness discussion, I could tell by what she said in that video. She said she work and take care of her kids. I'm stuck on that. I'm sorry. That's what she says she does. And she cooks for her children and nurtures them. She pours everything into them. I was that mom who poured everything into their child. And I can tell you, you start to create a hole of loneliness when that child gone to bed, or when that child is at school. You start asking yourself, who the heck am I? That's what I saw in that video.
And it's not his child either, by the way.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not his child. It's not even his child. So she gives all that love and affection and attention and food to the children first. And it's kind of like,
Exactly. So
I mean, the thing is like I say, all of that is fine and dandy, and I agree with the basis of what everybody said as far as what she's exemplifying, as far as her self-esteem, as far as what she feels like, all of those other things. And I only can agree to the extent, like I say, this is obviously how she feels about herself. Only thing that I'm saying is that the framing that she's putting it in, the frame of mind, the takeaways, all of that stuff is faulty. Even from the perspective of what, like you're saying, is like, oh, well, she giving this affection and this attention to somebody else's child. It's not his child. All of these other things. There may be a man out there who can't have no kids. He may not even have kids of his own. You don't know. No, I'm telling you, people
I've
need
seen
to
it
get out of these boxes. People need to get out of these boxes on thinking things have to only be one way. In this one little thing, they got to fit into this box, right? And then it's just if this is the situation, then this is what it's gonna be. And what I mean by that is just, if I have a child that's by another man, then it's not gonna work.
But those are outliers. You're naming outliers as
but that
majority.
may be a perfect fit for someone. And compatibility is more important than anything else. And being complementary to each other. So if she maybe she is a person that's a little bit more quick to get frazzled, right? Because like in certain circumstances, I'm like that a lot. Like if it's certain things my husband already know, I'll be like he already.
I think we can all agree that she's going to be an outlier.
But he could see when I'm getting real frazzled about certain things. Like it could be minor things, but he know when I got a lot of stuff going on, I'm gonna immediately just start acting like whatever. But he's way calmer in situations like that, right? Compatibility. So I'm not gonna come and be like, well, I have nothing to offer my husband because I can't be calm when a lot of things are going on. No, I don't need to be calm when a lot of things going on. That's what he's there for, because he's better at that than I am.
Yeah, but Kenny,
right?
you're talking. I think we have to distinguish though. Like, if that woman, from what I know about her, if she got into a relationship, whatever man, most men, I'm not saying everybody, but most men, even if he had his own baggage, would not stay with her. They probably used her until they got finished using her.
Yeah, if she's sitting there talking about some,
and that's with men but that's with anybody. Even on the flip side, you can have you can have a man who, like I said before, who has certain that you really like, but if he's not able to provide and he's not trying to, if he got a whole lot of other baggage, baby mama baggage, a woman, but some women are not going to stick around with that. And what I think,
find the ones that will.
But my whole thing is like, but why? Like, why do you want to stay in that place? Like, why would you want
She's trying to improve.
You're frustrated. You're not happy with your kid. You're not happy being a mama right now. Like, that's a big issue right there. You're not taking care of yourself. You're not happy with your own life because you yourself said, I'm only doing this and I'm only taking care of my kids and working. That's all she does. She's obviously not happy.
I just saw the one thing.